Good afternoon, Hattiesburg. Thanks for joining us for this COVID-19 and city news briefing for Thursday, August 27th. We will start with today's numbers. These are our numbers for Forrest General, Merritt Health Wesley, Cimarron, Hattiesburg Clinic, and the Moffat Health Center at USM. As of this morning, 50,621 tests have been conducted for COVID. 5,761 of those have come back positive. 44,184 are negative. We have 676 pending tests currently. Today we have 74 people in Merritt Health Wesley and Forrest General who are positive for COVID. That's 10 under where we've been the last 2 weeks, 8 more under investigation. Of those 74, 22 are in the ICU, which is also about 6 under where we've been the last 14 days. You can see how this is laid out over the last few months. The high point of today's is that we're at 22 in the ICU, which is the lowest number since July 5th. That's a very promising development that we've hit that low since July 5th. Statewide today, we had 585 new cases, 26 new deaths. Locally, Forrest County had 35 new cases, and this is an interesting number right here. Lamar County actually had -1. The reason throughout this whole pandemic, we've had about 5 or 6 days where you've seen one of the two counties have a negative number, and we call those sort of data reconciliation days, which means that there were probably people who had COVID whose address were incorrectly attributed to Lamar County when maybe it belonged to Forrest County, and then once every so often that adjustment is made and they're put back in the right county. And so you probably had new positive cases in Lamar County, but you had so many that were attributed to the correct county, probably some of those in Forrest County, hence the 35 number there. And so those adjustments are made during that point. Forrest County had one of these negative days last weekend, and so these are made to correct the record and make sure they're put on the right county's ledger in terms of these infections. Which brings totals right now to 2,098 in Forrest County. Lamar County has 1,399. Our 5-day average, with the negative number, the 5-day average of Lamar County has dropped under 10. Forrest County still hovering around the 20 mark. Inside 14 days, this is the number of people who have received their positive test result in the last 2 weeks. Because COVID-19 typically has a 14-day or fewer lifespan, this kind of gives you an idea of the number of active cases you could have in your community. In Forrest County, that number's at 233. Lamar County, the number's at 153. We kind of see how this is tracked over time. We've seen a reasonably steady decline since the beginning of August, with a bump here and there. We hope that continues. Inside 14-day comparison, a week ago, Forrest County was at 243. That number is now at 233. Lamar County has seen an increase of 10 since last week, but holding right in line, 386 to 386. Hospitalizations, 74 last week ago, 74 today. Again, we have that decline in ICU utilization from 26 to 22, again, lowest since July 5th. Our goals going forward, protecting the vulnerable, people over the age of 60, people with chronic or underlying health conditions. If we can protect those vulnerable folks, they're less likely to go in the hospital, which means we can prevent overrun of the healthcare system. And we want to continue prioritizing public health while giving the private sector the space to operate creatively. We continue to push the widespread availability of testing, wearing of masks in line with local and state orders, watching our own data, listening to all voices. One of those voices is our restaurant and bar owners. We're going to make some decisions in the next 24 hours that we'll announce to you tomorrow about where those orders are going to go starting Monday. And what we hope is that we can relax some of those orders because we've seen our inside 14-day in Forrest County number be cut in half in the last 4 weeks since we implemented the 10 p.m. rule. However, those conversations are still happening. We want our restaurants and bars to know they have a responsibility in terms of helping us ensure that there's social distancing happening. One of those other voices we're listening to are our healthcare side. And so one thing we want to let you know about is Hattiesburg Clinic is now, so half will receive the vaccine, half will receive a placebo. They will not tell you ahead of time which one you received. They will not even tell the physician who referred you which one you received. Participants will continue their daily habits and COVID precautions because, again, you're not going to know whether you received the vaccine or whether you received the placebo. Participants will monitor their symptoms going forward, and staff will check in to see if you've developed any symptoms that are COVID-related. There is no cost receiving the vaccine. It comes with pay if you're participating. And the goal is 500 participants. And so if you're interested in signing up, you can go to HattiesburgClinic.com. There will be a set of questions that you answer, and then someone will be in touch if you qualify. But there are many slots available if you'd like to participate. We have 36 days left until the census count is over. Our response rate is up to 55.3%. We actually had 30 people who filled out the census form when they came to vote Tuesday's Mississippi Power franchise referendum. But we need to drive that number up even higher. And so if you, your coworker, your family, your friends, neighbors have not filled out the census, go to HattiesburgCounts.com. If your business has not been profiled for getting 100% of its employees to fill out the census, go to HattiesburgCounts.com, reach out to us, and we can verify that you can verify with us that 100% of your employees have. We'd love to put you and recognize your business for that. Some city news. This morning, we announced that we had reached a settlement with the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Justice, and the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality regarding sanitary sewer overflows. And yes, that is as unpleasant as it sounds, SSOs. This happens when stormwater infiltrates the sewer lines, and during a heavy rain, it can't handle both the stormwater and the wastewater, and you see manhole covers bubbling up out into the street. There are two priority areas the settlement deals with, mostly in the older parts of town. But the consent decree really involves three things. One, we have to pay a fine of $165,600 for not reporting SSOs from 2012 to 2016. So that fine's got to be paid. The second thing is we have to embark on a supplemental environmental program to help replace the lateral lines in private yards for people who have financial hardship, because the private lines are often a source of what's called inflow and infiltration. This is where the stormwater starts to get into the system and overload it. And finally, it makes the city double down in its commitment to replacing its infrastructure over the next 16 years so that we do not have sanitary sewer overflows, as well as some other programs that can prevent SSOs as well. All told, we believe this will cost the city $45 million over 16 years. That sounds like a big number. But the good news is the city has been embarking on $3 to $4 million per year in improvements to water and sewer systems. We also know that we're going to be paying off some debt in our water and sewer programs over the next 5 years. We also know there's some new legislation that diverts some of the internet sales tax, the use tax, back to cities for roads, bridges, water and sewer for municipalities. We also know that we've been planning for this programmatically, and so over 16 years, will you still see some incremental increases at some point in your water bills? I'm sure you will. However, we are not going to recommend an increase in your water and sewer rates this year because we have been planning for this going forward. If you want more information about this consent decree, reach out to us at HattiesburgMS.com. And also, we want to say thank you to those of you who showed up to vote in the franchise fee referendum on Tuesday. We had 1,300 people show up to vote, and that's 400 more than the next highest turnout among cities our size. Gulfport, I think, had 900. But on a day when we had really bad weather in the middle of a pandemic, you showed up, and 95.6% approved extending that franchise fee another 25 years. This means that we'll continue getting 3% of residential, commercial, and industrial gross proceeds, which will go into our general fund to support all the things that we do out of that fund. I want to make sure that I thank Kermit Eaton and his staff, Cecilia, Hazel, Anna, as well as all 5 of our election commissioners and all the poll workers who made sure that Tuesday's vote was a safe vote in light of COVID-19. So I also want to thank our construction division of public works who made the sneeze guards between poll workers and voters. And so thank you for your patience. I know lines got somewhat long at times, and again, thank you for showing up and voting to support that. And finally, our act of courage. Usually our Best of the Pine Belt, which we've had since 2012, which recognizes everything from best musician to best chef to all sorts of best unsung hero and best nonprofit. Usually we have this program at the Sanger Theater. We can't do that this year. However, there's still going to be a good time tonight at 7 o'clock. If you'll go to the Signature Magazine Facebook page, that will air at 7 p.m., recognizing all of the great people who make our community what it is in terms of their passion, their talent, and just their desire to make this place better. So tune in 7 o'clock on the Signature Magazine Facebook page. As we go into Friday, wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask if you go out in public, do only what is essential, and remember, you are safer at home. Have a good rest of the evening.